everybody. This is Sam from the T-shirt game. And this is a question that I see thrown out a lot in Facebook groups, YouTube, just all over. This is a question that I've seen asked all over the years. And the question is, how do you start a clothing line? Well, I already have a clothing line that I started. So I can just tell you from my experience, the journey, and the process. Um, Starting a clothing line is not hard at all, but it's not something that you just go and think like, oh, I'm gonna make some designs, throw it on T-shirts, and then call it a clothing line. Technically, that's what a lot of people do, but that's really not a line because that's just a series of T-shirt designs and hoping that you sell them. To successfully start a brand like Adidas, Supreme, you know, a clothing line brand like that, the number one thing you need to do is not jump into the designing, is to come up with a concept, you know, and you once you get your concept, then a slogan that would go with it. I also, this is just before you start on anything. This is just scratching this down on a piece of paper. It's not jumping into Illustrator, Photoshop, any design software. It's just getting these simple things so you begin to get a direction. And the next thing is, since it's going to be a line, what are your demographics? Meaning the niche. Who do you plan to target to buy it? Your brand can't really be something that you like, because a lot of times when we create things that we like, they generally have a hard time selling. Like, I'm going to give you an idea. Let's say we decided we wanted to use skateboarders, people that that did skating. That would be the demographics of our line. And I also have I'm going to go with a concept. Let's say we use the word blurred as a concept. That could be the name. That's the name of the brand, Blurred. BLURR, or we could have an ED. But let's just say blur, and then now we could have a slogan like um something like as I'm on the fly doing this live, so oh, my vision is not blurred, or there's so many things in life that can blur my way. You know, just those are examples of slogans. And so you just have to figure out the area that you're targeting. Or even if we had a brand that was called Juice, the slogan's a little bit easier in my head. I got the juice. There's too much juice for you. It's nothing but fresh juice. See, and those would be your slogans that you can use for your t-shirt designs, hoodies, or tracksuits. But then getting back to the line, most people think you have to have a ton of clothes when you're starting the line, and that's not true. You can start off with one t-shirt, one tracksuit, one hoodie, because that gives you a stronger direction. It's a lot easier to market after you've gotten your sample. together, and you get your website, you can still sell one product and it moves. Because you can have one product in different colors, like 4 or 5 different colors. It's still one product, and you got flow out of it. So I don't think you have to come up with a million different products. No. Successful brands like Levi's, they started off with one pair of jeans, and they went from there, and they are who they are today. So, also too, in the process of starting a line, this is where a lot of people get confused, and I'm telling you, don't make this mistake. You will have to find a manufacturer or a factory. Only get samples made. A sample is one piece, no more than that. One piece. Do not allow them to say how many pieces and you go into production. Number one, you don't know what their quality is going to be like. You don't know what their sizing is going to be like. You don't even know the shirt or whatever the product you get, that if you like it or not. 9 times out of 10, it might take 3 or 4 samples to get it right. And sample costs average between $1 to $200. I'm just going on the high end. The low end is 100, and high end is 200. And samples save you bukus of dollars. All of your brands start off with the samples, because once you have a sample, then your brand exists. Then you can go model it, show it, advertise it, get samples, and then you can put it into production once you got your sample done right. So don't think samples are expensive. I will tell you this, I've known a lot of people that went in head first and spent $1,000 on ordering 100 t-shirts, and the t-shirts were wrong and they could not use them, and they had to spend the same amount again. And even on their second run, they didn't think about putting neck tags, and they just did a poor job. So they're on their third run of doing it. And so if they would have started out with $150 sample, they would have saved their $2,000. So don't let this be your mistake of doing it. Doing a line is pretty much simple when you follow these sort of rules, these simple guides out there. There are a ton of other informations out there. I'm not going to give you any resources, any factories, because you know what? I could say go to A, B, C, and D, and they don't work out for you. You have factories in LA, so you can get stuff made in LA. I think you can get stuff made in New York. So there are US manufacturers. Now keep in mind, their manufacturers' prices are going to be more expensive, but you're not going to struggle with size because they're US based. So you won't have to worry about that. But when you start getting the overseas market, your sizes are a challenge, and also the quality of materials that you're going to use. And also when you're designing your sample, you want to keep a price point in mind. And if you guys don't know what a price point is, that means that's your targeted, suggested retail that you want to retail your item for. Let's say we were making a varsity jacket and it was wool and leather. We would say the suggested retail that we want to retail that jacket for is anywhere from 175 to 250 depending on your territory if your market could bear it. Most markets in the U.S. can bear it using real leather and wool. But so keep in mind, knowing what your projected retail price is, that's you're gonna have to go half of that price when you go into production. So your production price is gonna have to cost you, I'd say, half or to a quarter of your retail price. So you're gonna have to think about how many pieces you're gonna be comfortable with when you go into. But we're not at that stage. I'll make another video when it comes to that. I was just dropping some info, and I think it's a little bit too much. But if you like this video, leave some comments. If you have some questions, leave some comments. All right, you guys have a good day. God bless. Talk to you later.